The Fever re-signed our good, close personal friend, Sophie Cunningham, to a 1-year contract. Let's go.
It was close. It was close.
Can I be nosy right off the jump? Given the changes in structure and money and all of that over the last few weeks, like, was the contract better than you thought it would?
Look at that face.
Look at that face. That tells you everything you need to know about how contract negotiations went down in Indiana this offseason. Sophie Cunningham just got asked if her new deal was better than expected, and her expression screams disappointment. This is the reality check hitting the WNBA right now. Not everyone's getting million-dollar contracts under the new CBA, and some players are learning that lesson the hard way.
Look at the face. You heard her say it was close. It was close. It seems like she was this close to going elsewhere, and the Indiana Fever only gave her a 1-year deal. I believe, just like with Kelsey Mitchell, this will be the last year you see Sophie Cunningham in an Indiana Fever uniform. Look at the face she made. She said she's not happy with what she got. She thought she was going to get more. She got 600-some thousand. Lexi got more than her. It's a lot of people that got more than her. We seen people get $1 million deals that pretty much had the same production as her. So she was
$600,000. That's what Sophie Cunningham signed for with the Indiana Fever, 1-year deal. And she's admitting on camera she's not happy about it. Here's the context everyone needs to understand. Sophie came off a major injury last season, and she couldn't get in front of teams during free agency to prove she was healthy. The doctors cleared her. The medical reports said she was good to go. But if general managers don't see you moving on the court with their own eyes, they're not writing big checks. What makes this fascinating is the comparison. Lexi Hull got more money than Sophie. Players with similar production stats are landing million-dollar deals. Sophie's watching all of this happen while she's stuck with a number that doesn't match what she thought her market value would be.
wasn't happy with what she got.
Is in structure and money and all of that over the last few weeks, like, was the contract better than you thought it would? Nope. Okay, sorry.
Nope. It's okay. I think,
Sorry.
no, it's fine, because it's tough because I came off an injury and, like, I haven't been in front of any teams. Like, I had a lot going on this offseason. And I was fully cleared. They had all the doctors. They had the numbers and everything. But if you don't get in front of these people, then it's like, hey, like, are you actually good? And so that, I'm not even gonna lie to you, that was a little kind of frustrating because I'm someone who, like, I kind of shoot it straight, where if I wasn't feeling good or like I was hesitant, I think I would have said something and, like, been honest, because I'm just in the point in my career where I just want to win.
Now she's trying to spin it as motivation, saying it lit a fire under her, that it's a wake-up call, not to get comfortable. That's professional athlete speak for being pissed off but keeping it classy in the interview. And you know what? She should be frustrated, because the injury timing killed her leverage. But here's the reality Sophie needs to remember, and every WNBA player needs to remember. You could be Natasha Cloud right now. Natasha Cloud would do anything for that $600,000 contract Sophie's complaining about. Cloud is sitting at home waiting for her phone to ring, hoping it's a team and not just another Instagram notification. No contract, no team, no paycheck. That's the alternative when you're unhappy with your deal, but the market says otherwise.
I just want to win.
Yeah, but Sophie, it's a lot of money on the line. Everybody, you may have been honest if you were still hurt. Everybody wasn't going to be completely honest, okay? We seen Dejanay Carrington got traded, got a deal. She's getting searched. She's not even ready. It's a lot, and not saying that she did not let them know, because from my information that I have, the Chicago Sky knew about Dejanay's injury. But my point is, there are people out there who would have said, I'm good, knowing they wasn't, just so they could collect the bag. So you can't really knock the owners for that. But before I finish playing it, Sophie Cunningham, this is not just for Sophie, this is for all players out there. Always think, I could be Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud would get.
Sophie admits she would have been honest about her health, even if it cost her money. Says she's at the point in her career where she just wants to win, so she wouldn't hide an injury. That's admirable. That's the right thing to say. But let's be real about human nature here. We just saw Dejanay Carrington get traded to the Chicago Sky while dealing with an injury. Chicago knew about it, but there are players in this league who would have hidden that information to secure the bag. When you've got potentially $1 million on the line, not everyone's going to be completely transparent about their medical status. You can't blame front offices for being skeptical when players can't physically demonstrate they're healthy during the negotiation window.
I know a big name was Raven Johnson. She was with South Carolina. And Sometimes for me, I'm just not really good at knowing like if people's game or like if it's going to translate well in the W, you know?
Yeah. I think that's fascinating for all sports. Like some people are better in college, some people are better professionally, and like you just don't know when. Sometimes it works better, like
kind of transition
layer to sports.
Yes, and some people you get the green light right away, and you just get to go and do your thing. I mean, I had Tarasi, and so it took me like 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? It's still like sometimes it tests your character, your perseverance, it tests everything. Sport tests everything, but Raven Johnson is a freaking dog.
Let's talk about Raven Johnson for a second, because this connects to what Indiana is building. Sophie says Raven Johnson is a dog. First day of training camp, Sophie's already impressed. Calls her a sweet girl, great teammate, fantastic defensive player. That matters because Raven's coming in as a rookie who knows her role. Sophie makes an important point about rookies. She says the best thing you can do is stay in your lane. If your game is defense and assists, go all in on that. Don't try to be something you're not just because you're nervous. Training camp is nerve-wracking, but the rookies who succeed are the ones who embrace what they do best instead of trying to prove they can do everything. And here's why that matters for this Fever team. They're building something fast. Sophie says they're going to be able to shoot, defend, and push pace. Caitlin Clark is healthy after playing in the USA basketball stuff. Everyone made it through the first day of training camp without injuries. These are the building blocks of a team that thinks they can make a real run this season.
To know what she had to say about it.
And you've been there for a lot of players. Lately in the spotlight, teammate relationships has been in the spotlight with AZ Fug being drafted and Paige Beckers being the wings. Have you ever given advice to younger players about navigating that? And how have you gone about that?
Yeah, no, I feel like my personal relationship is my personal relationship. AT and I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like we know how to handle things, handle business when it's business, and we how to handle our relationship. Obviously at work, we've been playing together for 8-9 years now. I just feel like it's personal preference, and whatever that people feel like they need to do in their relationship to keep it going, that's what they do, and we do what we do, so yeah.
Now we need to shift gears to something that's becoming a bigger conversation in the WNBA, dating within teams, specifically dating teammates on the same roster. Duana Bonner addressed this, and her perspective matters because she's been living it for 8 or 9 years with Alyssa Thomas. Bonner's position is simple. It's a personal preference. What works for her and AT might not work for everyone else. They've figured out how to handle business when it's business and keep their relationship separate when needed. 8 or 9 years of playing together, and it's worked. So she's not going to tell other players how to navigate their situations.
Dating within the WNBA, within being on the same team, obviously her and Alyssa Thomas married, all of this stuff, and everything that's been going on with this Paige Beckers AZ Fudd situation that's been taking over headlines. Let's take a listen to what she had to say about it.
And you've been there for a lot of players. Lately in the spotlight, teammate relationships has been in the spotlight with AZ Fug being drafted and Paige Beckers being the wings. Have you ever given advice to younger players about navigating that? And how have you gone about that?
Yeah, no, I feel like my personal relationship is my personal relationship. AT and I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like we know how to handle things, handle business when it's business, and we how to handle our relationship. Obviously at work, we've been playing together for 8-9 years now. I just feel like it's personal preference, and whatever that people feel like they need to do in their relationship to keep it going, that's what they do, and we do what we do, so yeah.
But here's where this gets complicated, and why it's worth discussing. The Paige Bruckers and Azzy Fudd situation is getting attention because they're about to enter the league as one of the most high-profile couples in women's basketball. Azzy got drafted by the Phoenix Mercury. Paige is going to Dallas. They're on different teams, so there's no immediate conflict. The real question is, what happens when relationships exist on the same roster and things get messy? Duana and AT have made it work, but we've seen situations where it hasn't worked as smoothly. Look at what happened with Dejonai Carrington and Nalissa Smith. Dejonai was attacking Caitlin Clark on the court, and Nalissa was protecting Dejonai on social media while she was still on Caitlin's team. That created tension. That affected team dynamics. And they weren't even on the same team at that point. Here's what makes this a legitimate concern for WNBA teams going forward. When you've got players and relationships on the same roster, you're adding a layer of complexity to team chemistry that most franchises would rather avoid. Breakups happen, jealousy happens, conflicts happen. And when those personal issues bleed into professional settings, it affects everyone in that locker room. The Duana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas situation works because they've established boundaries and maintained professionalism for nearly a decade. They're the exception, not the rule. Most relationships don't last that long. Most people can't separate personal feelings from professional obligations when things go wrong. And in a league where team chemistry is everything, where you've only got 12 roster spots and everyone needs to be on the same page, relationship drama can torpedo a season. Think about the dynamics this creates. If two players are dating and one of them isn't performing, does the coach feel comfortable benching that player? Does the other player in the relationship take it personally? If there's a disagreement about playing time or offensive touches, does that turn into a fight at home that carries over into practice the next day? These aren't hypothetical concerns. These are real issues that coaching staffs and front offices have to consider. Now let's talk about the Paige and Azzy situation specifically. They're on different teams, which eliminates the immediate problem. But what happens if one of them gets traded? What happens if they both become free agents and want to play together? Does a team sign both of them knowing they're in a relationship, or does that become a red flag during negotiations? And if they do end up on the same team, what happens if the relationship ends badly? The WNBA is a small league, 12 teams, 144 roster spots total. Everyone knows everyone. Word travels fast. And when high-profile players are in high-profile relationships, that becomes part of the narrative, whether they want it to or not. It becomes something media asks about, something fans speculate about, something that can overshadow actual basketball. Here's the other side of this that needs to be acknowledged. Players have the right to date whoever they want. They're adults, they're professionals, and telling them they can't be in relationships with teammates crosses a line that most organizations aren't willing to cross legally or ethically. So this isn't about whether players should be allowed to date. They absolutely should. This is about whether it's smart, whether it's sustainable, whether it creates unnecessary complications that could be avoided. Duana Bonner said it best. It's a personal preference. What works for some people doesn't work for others, and until it becomes a problem, there's no reason to make it one. That's the right approach. But the key phrase there is until it becomes a problem, because history tells us that mixing professional and personal relationships creates problems more often than it doesn't. Look at what's happening in Las Vegas right now. There are rumors floating around about Jackie Young, Nalissa Smith, and Dejanai Carrington. I don't know if those rumors are true. I'm not going to speculate on people's personal lives without confirmation. But the fact that those rumors exist at all shows you how this stuff can become a distraction. Whether it's real or not, people are talking about it. And when people are talking about relationship drama instead of basketball, that's not good for anyone involved. So here's my position on this whole thing. Keep it professional. Whatever you do in your personal life is your business. But the second it starts affecting the team, the second it becomes a distraction, the second it creates tension in the locker room, it's a problem. And players need to be mature enough to recognize when that line is being crossed. The Sophie Cunningham contract situation and the dating discussion might seem like separate topics, but they're connected by the same theme: professionalism. Sophie's frustrated with her contract, but she's handling it professionally. She's using it as motivation instead of becoming a distraction. That's how you navigate disappointment in a professional setting. The players who can separate their personal feelings from their professional responsibilities are the ones who succeed long term. The ones who let personal drama bleed into their work are the ones who end up bouncing around the league or out of it entirely. And with only 144 roster spots available, there's no room for people who can't keep their personal lives from affecting their professional performance. So to Sophie Cunningham, here's my advice. Use that frustration. Let it fuel you this season. Go out there and prove you're worth more than $600,000. Show every team that passed on you that they made a mistake. And then when you hit free agency again next year, you'll have the leverage you didn't have this time around. And to the players navigating relationships within this league, here's what I'll say. Do what works for you. But understand that your personal choices have professional consequences. If you can handle that like Duana and AT have, great. If you can't, be honest with yourself about it before it becomes a problem for everyone else. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Sophie got lowballed on her contract, or is $600,000 fair given the injury situation? And what's your take on players dating teammates? Is it something the league needs to address, or should everyone just mind their business until it actually becomes a problem? Let me know what you think, and if you found this breakdown valuable, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're covering everything happening in the WNBA this season.